Hey horror movie fans, my name is Ryan Wright.
And I'm Jerry.
And I'm Alyssa Marie.
We are three movie buffs.
And we're gonna give you reasons to see
and not to see Evil Dead. So let's hang out.
Leave this book alone.
After their friend needs to kick their drug addiction, five friends head to a cabin in the woods, where one of them, who looks like Jerry, discovers the Book of the Dead, decides to read from the book that clearly states, don't read it, and unleashes demons that set out to brutally destroy them.
You're all going to die tonight.
Reason to see number one, brutal terror.
it's pretty relentless.
This movie is definitely brutal terror. Once the terror kicks in, it becomes almost nonstop.
It doesn't hold back. It doesn't give any crap about anything.
It's a violent fucking movie. There you
To
go.
say the least.
I read a passage from that book. I released something evil.
It's a great cross of like supernatural terror but there's a big sense of realism at the same time. So the terror really fucking hits hard.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's almost gleefully, horrifying.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing because no matter how brutal it was, every time terror was on the screen, that's when I noticed I was subconsciously eating popcorn and drinking my soda. I was the most excited during those scenes.
No, this movie's like the best roller coaster I've been on in a while. Like,
Oh, absolutely.
There's one particular scene in the movie where out of nowhere the entire audience screamed and jumped out of their seat, and I've never seen that before in a theater.
that
Never.
thing you see in movie trailers where someone like throws their popcorn that doesn't
that
actually happen.
literally
It actually
happened.
happened.
Yeah.
It wasn't me.
Reason to see number two, gory effects.
Olivia? Olivia.
Oh my god! How did you do that?
You want to see a movie that's gory? This movie defines gore.
I honestly thought we were watching an unrated version because there was so much blood, I felt it.
You feel like you just feel blood in you when the movie's done.
Just when you think that it's over and there's no more blood.
Oh no.
It literally splatters in your face.
And all that blood is real. Practical blood
Oh, yeah.
is makeup magic.
And that's why I think it even looked better because there was so little CGI. Like, if anything, and
Yeah.
everything was just this practical blood in your face, and I think that was way more effective.
You know, a couple of things that I really loved about it was like how sometimes it was so over the top that it was actually kind of funny, but I felt like this film needs that. It adds to that roller coaster ride for sure. And it's that rare film where gore actually makes sense. This is not a torture porn movie.
Yeah.
The gore like totally added to the film.
And that's where it stayed true to, I think, the title of Evil Dead, because it's all about that outrageous gore
Yeah.
that almost makes you laugh. Because it's so uncomfortable.
Yeah, every Evil Dead movie has this sort of over-the-topness about it.
If you're a gore hound, then you probably won't be disappointed.
Oh, absolutely. A woman takes a kitchen knife and cuts her arm off, and they don't do any cheap camera tricks where they're cutting away and all you see is blood. They show it in one shot where she's just
You don't
slicing off her arm.
expect You think it's gonna be on your head and you go, oh, that sucks. No, they show you what you're thinking of.
It looks like when your arm is really ripping off.
Sometimes people are like, oh, well, you show it and it's not as scary as what's in your head. But you know what? Like, half the movie was me going, oh,
Yeah.
no, oh, dude. Like,
It's gross, but it's
gross.
fun as fuck.
Reasons to see number 3, the directing and writing.
Okay, as far as like the horror movie genre goes, you know, horror movies are very much underrated, but this is just a solid fucking film in general.
they went with a slightly new story because the main character, Mia, is going through like a heroin detox. It's that glue that holds everything together and it makes all the decisions make sense and all the characters are... No one's dumb in this movie.
I read a passage from that book. I released some evil.
There was no sex, no anything. They just went straight to the point, and that's what I like about the writing too. They just didn't rely on stupid sex gimmicks like that.
It was really smart to choose a reason to go to this cabin that's not like, let's have a party.
The point I was trying to make, basically.
Yeah, like in the original Evil Dead, it gets to a point early on where you're like, you people should leave. Like, it's pretty fucking obvious, it's time to go. But in this one, like, everything's just much more justifiable. The characterization's better. The emphasis on the brother and sister relationship in this made the film that much more personal. One of the best horror remakes you'll ever see.
It has a purpose, and everything is plausible. Like, it just makes sense why they would do certain things or think certain things.
Even at times where it seems like a dumb decision, when you break it down psychologically, you're like, it actually makes a lot of sense.
Like in real life, you think, yeah, that I would do that.
There's no stupid dad character who's like, I've just watched 5 people die brutally. We shouldn't leave the house.
And there's
like,
no dicks in this movie. Like, there's no one who's just the asshole who's like, fuck this.
You know, it's not like a big, huge character study, but for what they give you, they certainly give you enough to latch onto and enough to make the characters feel like people.
Mom would have hated seeing the cabin like this.
Oh, is that blood? What is this?
It has a lot of style, it has a lot of, you know, visual panache and the editing and all that stuff. Like, you can really feel a strong hand behind the camera, and it's gleeful. Like, even though the movie is a much more serious, dark tone, you can still feel that glee coming from behind the camera as they put these people through these horrible things.
Yeah.
So hats off to Fede Alvarez.
Shouldn't have touched anything from that basement.
Kunda. Strata. Montose. Kanda.
It takes enough stuff from the original Evil Dead to be a really great nod, and it keeps the spirit alive while doing enough of its own thing not to be a pointless exercise in carbon copying, you know?
Reason to see number 4, the cast. Yes, there is one black person in the cast.
Sort of black.
Sort of black.
She's like...
At first it's a little questionable. It's like, if I have to go, she's probably black.
She might be a little... She's ethnic in some way.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way. But she wasn't a stereotype in any way. She was a normal person, which I liked.
I think we're having trouble because there wasn't one moment where she was like, oh, 'cause I'm black? Like,
yeah.
You know?
Or she didn't have any attitude or anything. Wait, was she black?
They're a very solid cast that really knew how to work together well.
It's a solid ensemble for sure. There isn't that Bruce Campbell like standout character, but at the same time, I'm kind of glad it works as an ensemble piece because just the situation gets to shine.
Yeah, because you know what makes the ensemble so great is you don't really know who's gonna live by the end of this movie. It does such a good job because some people are like, oh, maybe he's the lead. But the movie knows how to throw you for a couple of turns and loops, man.
That's what I loved about that, because when you think somebody's gonna make it to the end, like, they just flip-flop and things switch and it's crazy and you never know.
They're sort of playing with your expectation in a way because it's like, oh, is anyone gonna step up and be the new Ash? Like, who's it gonna be?
There was something in the woods, David. And I think it's in here with us now.
Jane Levy in particular, I thought she gave a really good performance, especially in the beginning too, when she was going through a little drug craziness and she thinks she's seeing hallucinations and everything. She was great. She was a stand-up.
She was great as being a person with drug addiction and being a terrifying bitch.
Yeah, she somehow managed to, like, she went through a mental roller coaster.
I mean, I do have a minor issue with one character. It was the girlfriend of David. She was the only one that seemed a little two-dimensional to me. That was the only character that I didn't quite fully feel we really got to know. But she doesn't do a bad job.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I thought that actress brought enough to that role. She actually did a good job, and I cared what happened to her. Reason to see number 5. Cinematography.
The first 10 minutes of this film, that's like what I was admiring the most. Was just how beautiful everything surprisingly looked for a horror film. It's like beautiful to look at.
And I like the subtle nods that they had from the point of view, the POV shots.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the scary Evil Dead running through the forest. It's still effective. Even if you're not avid film goer who like looks for stuff like cinematography, I actually think you'll notice how good this film looks.
There's a lot of artistic shots in here too. Just a lot of, everything was beautiful. Everything was kind of, there was almost poetic.
There's really cool framing, some really just sort of nasty stuff. There's some really neat things they do with focus, especially when they're looking through the book. And some of those scenes, some of the gorier, like, heart-pounding scenes, some of the things they would do with the camera made those hurt all the much more. It's like someone gets whacked with something really hard and they'll punch in really quick on it, and it's just like, ooh!
Yeah, with the way I was shot, even expected horror jumps still get you.
Reasons to see number 6! Sound design!
Listen, you gotta get out of those clothes.
You have to get me out of here.
Look, nobody said this is gonna be easy.
You don't understand.
You're cringing and squirming already just because of some of the sounds.
The
in this
entire
movie.
audience, like everybody, obviously, I'm cringing right now thinking about it.
It's like they know when to, the sound they have is really icky, and sometimes when they take the sound away, it enhances the experience. So
Right, there's a lot of silent moments that really added suspense.
I mean, really think about it. Like, out of all movies where sound really needs to be effective, I think the horror genre is one of the most important. To get the spook across, to get the jumps across, you know, sound plays a major part. Well, usually that's what really gets you to jump. It's not the shot or the action, it's the sound that can, like, amplifies the experience.
Boy, did they have great sound.
Reason to see number 7, the music.
oh yeah,
Oh, dude, let's not forget the music.
that air raid siren, man.
Yeah. They had kind of like a choral sort of.
It's kind of like a mix of the original Evil Dead music and like modern day music. Like, it's a great blend of like old-fashioned horror music backed up with modern day. Let's move on to the reasons not to see Evil Dead.
Reasons not to see. The first 10 minutes of expositional dialogue.
Hey, brother, who I haven't seen in a long time, and we are distant because of something that occurred.
Yeah, exactly.
For me, it didn't bother me that much, but I guess in retrospect, thinking about it, I can definitely see it. Like, it's there.
You know, it's kind of okay to me too, because it's like this movie's about the terror ride, and you want to get to that as soon as possible. And the great thing about the expositional dialogue is they at least have character in this movie.
Right.
So without that character, without that history, without that background, the terror wouldn't have been as effective. So you need it, even though it's kind of expositional, you want to get to the ride as fast as possible.
I can see how it would bug a lot of people though.
But it definitely picks up after that point.
And at the end of the day, I thought they improved upon the characterization from the original Evil Dead. Besides the first 10 minutes of expositional dialogue, the characters are still pretty good.
Go to sleep.
You You want to wrap this up? What does everyone think? What's your consensus?
Ryan's consensus. Evil Dead is the reason horror movies are made. Evil Dead is the reason horror movies are made. This is just a fun, gory, brutalistic horror ride.
Jerry's consensus. Evil Dead is the reason horror remakes are made. Evil Dead is the reason horror remakes are made. Remakes are tough. People kind of hate remakes anyway, and this is one of those rare remakes that really does it right, man.
Alyssa's consensus. There are horrifically enthusiastic reasons to see Evil Dead. There are horrifically enthusiastic reasons to see Evil Dead. I literally laughed. I literally screamed because I was so horrified. I cried. It was embarrassing, but that's how effective this movie is.
Alright, movie fans, horror movie lovers, if you want to comment below, tell us your reasons to see or not to see Evil Dead. Tell us your favorite part of the movie, if you liked it more than the first one, if you liked the first one better, let us know.
And if you want to check out my straight to the point of Evil Dead, if you want to know what the difference is, it's straight to the point, very direct. Go ahead and click on the link right here.
And if you want to see more episodes of Reasons to See, click the link right here.
Last but not least, if you want to get updated every time a new review is out, subscribe! Click on Alyssa's boobs. Go ahead, click them, touch them. It's
We're gonna
okay.
crash the site.
She wants you to touch them. Go for it. And there's Evil Dead imagery inside of her, as you can tell.
Join us!
Oh, she's pretty good at that. Wow.
Yeah.
Don't even get me started.
Yeah.
That's the noise she makes when you click her boobs. Watch, try it.
Join us!
See?